3 days ago, inside a secure briefing room somewhere in Washington, a senior American general looked across the table and said 4 words that nobody in that room ever expected to hear. He said, "We have nothing left. Not a threat, not a plan, not a single card left to play." And the room went completely silent. Now, that moment has not appeared on CNN. It has not appeared on Fox News. But the consequences of that moment, what it means for America, for Iran, for the price of oil, and for the future of this entire region, that is exactly what this video is about. And I promise you, by the time this video ends, your entire understanding of who actually controls West Asia right now is going to be completely different. Welcome back. What you just heard is not fiction. It is not speculation. It is the direct result of one single announcement made by Iran this week that has sent shock waves through every foreign ministry, every military headquarters, and every oil trading floor on the planet. Iran just did something so bold, so calculated, and so final that the last remaining pillar of Donald Trump's entire Iran strategy collapsed in a single moment. Not slowly, not quietly, in full public view, in front of the entire world. And Iran did it with a smile. Let me tell you exactly what happened. Because the way this story unfolded is something that even the most experienced geopolitical analysts are still struggling to fully process. Iran formally announced the full restart of its advanced centrifuge operations at Fordow. If that name means nothing to you right now, let me put it in terms that will make your stomach drop. Fordow is a nuclear facility buried deep inside a mountain. Not near a mountain, in Sidione. The walls of rock above it are so thick that even the most powerful American bombs, the ones specifically designed to destroy underground bunkers, cannot reach the equipment inside. American military planners have known for years that if Iran ever fully activated the military option to stop Iran's nuclear program would be gone forever. Not difficult, not risky, gone, permanently, irreversibly, done. Iran just activated it fully, openly, and dared Washington to do something about it. The reaction from the White House, first silence, then confusion, then a statement so weak it barely qualified as words. The Trump administration called the move deeply concerning and said they were monitoring the situation. Monitoring the situation. That is not the language of a superpower. That is the language of a man who just watched his last chess piece get knocked off the board and has no idea what to do next. And here is what makes this moment truly historic. This is not just one bad week for American policy. This is the final chapter of a strategy that has been failing for over 2 decades. Let me show you exactly how we got here. Because understanding this collapse requires going back and seeing the full picture. Trump's maximum pressure campaign, the strategy he relaunched when he came back into office, was built on 4 pillars. 4 legs holding the entire table up. And in the past 18 months, all 4 legs have been kicked out from under it one by one. The first pillar was economic sanctions. The theory was simple. Cut Iran off from the global financial system. Strangle its oil exports, and eventually the Iranian people and the Iranian government would have no choice but to come to the table on American terms. That theory failed. Iran found new buyers. China did not care about American sanctions. India negotiated its own arrangements. Iran built new financial channels that bypassed the Western banking system entirely. The sanctions hurt, but they did not break. And every year they failed to break Iran. Iran got better at surviving without American permission. The second pillar was diplomatic isolation. The plan was to make Iran a pariah, a country so cut off from the international community that it would be desperate for any deal just to rejoin the world. That plan also collapsed. Iran signed a 25-year strategic partnership with China. Iran normalized full relations with Saudi Arabia, and that deal was brokered by Beijing, not Washington. Iran joined the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. Iran deepened its relationship with Russia. The country that was supposed to be isolated is now sitting at tables that the United States cannot even get invited to. The third pillar was military intimidation. Aircraft carriers, airstrikes, threats, public warnings. The idea was that Iran would look at American military power in the region and decide the cost of confrontation was too high. Instead, Iranian-aligned forces in Yemen shut down international shipping lanes. Iranian P-produced drones showed up on battlefields across the region, performing better than Western analysts thought possible. Iranian missiles proved they could reach any American base between Turkey and the Indian Ocean. The intimidation did not intimidate. It educated. It showed Iran exactly where American pressure had limits. And now, Pillar 4, the nuclear limits, the last one standing. The Fordow announcement just destroyed it completely. Every single pillar of maximum pressure has now fallen. This is not a policy setback. This is not a temporary failure. This is the complete and total end of a strategy. The table has no legs left. And the person who built that table is currently sitting in the White House trying to figure out what to say. Now stay exactly where you are. Because what I am about to tell you next is the part of this story that goes even deeper. And this is the part that the people in power absolutely do not want reaching regular people like you and me. Before I get there, if you are watching this channel for the first time, you need to understand something. What we do here is not the version of the news that has been approved by a government press office or filtered through a network that depends on Pentagon advertising. If that kind of raw, unfiltered analysis matters to you, hit that like button right now. It takes 1 second, and it tells the algorithm that real people want real journalism. Subscribe so you never miss a story like this one. Drop a comment below right now. Even just one word so I know you are here. And now let us go even deeper. Here is what nobody is telling you. While the entire world was focused on the nuclear headline, something equally significant was happening at the same time in the back channels of global diplomacy. Sources inside the European diplomatic circuit, the same sources that correctly predicted the Rome talks 2 months before they were publicly announced, are reporting that senior American officials held a private informal meeting with European partners last week. And in that meeting, behind closed doors, away from cameras and press releases, those American officials admitted something extraordinary. They said there is no longer a viable military option against Iran's nuclear program. Not because of political will, not because of public opinion, because of physics, because of geography, because of the mountain above Fordow and the hundreds of meters of solid rock that no bomb can currently penetrate. A strike today would set Iran's program back by months, not years, and it would guarantee that Iran uses those months to cross every remaining threshold and emerge on the other side with full nuclear capability as a matter of national survival. The military option did not just become expensive, it became counterproductive. And the people who built American policy around that option as the ultimate threat have now lost the threat entirely. This brings us to the man who has sat at the center of this entire story for 30 years, Ali Khamenei, Iran's supreme leader. Every American president since the early 1990s made the same fundamental bet that enough pressure, enough isolation, enough military posturing would eventually force this one man to change direction. Every single one of them lost that bet. Reagan, Bush, Clinton, Bush again, Obama, Trump the first time, Biden, Trump the second time. 8 presidents, 1 supreme leader, 30 years, and the score stands at 8 losses for Washington and 0 for Tehran. What is particularly devastating about this moment for Trump personally is the story he told his own voters. He came back into office promising a secret plan, promising that he, the great dealmaker, would accomplish what every other president failed to do, that Iran would come to the table, that Iran would negotiate from a position of weakness, that maximum pressure 2, 0 would succeed where maximum pressure 1, 0 had failed. And Iran's response to that promise was to walk to Fordow, turn on the centrifuges, hold a press conference, and announce it to the world. The message was not just strategic, it was personal. It was Tehran telling Trump in front of every nation on earth that his tools are broken, his threats are empty, and his deal-making is a performance with no power behind it. Now, here is where this story moves into territory that almost no mainstream outlet is willing to touch. Because the Fordow announcement did not happen in isolation, it happened as part of a much larger strategic picture that Iran has been quietly assembling for years. And when you see the full picture, the scale of what has shifted becomes almost impossible to overstate. Iran and China finalized the first operational phase of their $400 billion cooperation agreement this month. This is not a handshake deal. This is infrastructure, energy pipelines, technology transfer, banking integration, the kind of deep economic wiring that takes a generation to undo, even if both sides wanted to. Iran is now connected to the Chinese economic system at a level where American sanctions targeting Iranian oil or banking have diminishing effect on the sectors that matter most to Iran's long-term development. At the same time, Iran has been producing and exporting military technology, drones, missiles, electronic systems to partners across the region. In the middle of the most aggressive sanctions regime in modern history, Iran became an arms exporter. Think carefully about what that means. The country that was supposed to be on its knees economically is selling weapons to other countries. The pressure did not produce collapse. It produced adaptation. And adaptation produced capability. Iran did not beat the American strategy by fighting it head-on. Iran beat it by making it irrelevant. By building trade routes that bypass American financial control, by building military capability that makes strike options too costly, by building diplomatic relationships that make isolation impossible. Iran did not defeat maximum pressure. Iran made maximum pressure obsolete, and there is a significant difference between those two things. So where does this leave the world now? The honest answer is that the next several months represent the most consequential window in the entire history of this confrontation. Iran holds real leverage for the first time in a long time. Not theoretical leverage, not symbolic leverage, actual operational leverage. A nuclear program that cannot be stopped militarily, an economy that cannot be fully isolated diplomatically, and a regional network that cannot be dismantled quickly. The only path forward for Washington that does not end in a much larger crisis is a negotiated agreement. But here is the trap that American policy has built for itself over 20 years of failed pressure. The terms Iran will accept today are dramatically more favorable to Iran than the terms available 5 years ago. Every year Washington refused to negotiate seriously, Iran's position got stronger. Every failed sanctions round taught Iran how to survive without American approval. Every empty military threat made the next threat less believable. The longer the delay continued, the worse the deal got for Washington, and Washington kept delaying. Trump had a genuine window, a moment early in this term where a deal was possible on terms that could have been presented to the American public as a victory. That window is closing. Once the Fordow centrifuges reach full operational capacity, which Iranian officials say is a matter of weeks, the starting point for any negotiation shifts again, and it shifts further away from what any American president can sell to their voters as success. This is the historic moment, not a new cycle, not a chapter. The actual ending of one era of American power projection in West Asia and the opening of something new. A regional order where Iran's sovereignty over its own nuclear program is no longer a question being debated. Where its technical capabilities are an established reality that diplomacy must work around rather than eliminate. Where its regional influence is a permanent feature of the landscape rather than a temporary problem to be solved by the next election cycle. The last barrier of Trump's Iran policy is not just broken, it is gone. And the world that follows is already taking shape. Now, I want your honest opinion because this is the question that the smartest people in every capital city are wrestling with right now. And I want to know what the people watching this channel actually think. Iran's military program is now beyond the reach of American bombs. Its economy has found ways to survive American sanctions. Its diplomacy has broken American isolation. Given all of that, what exactly does the United States have left to offer Iran as an incentive to negotiate? And if you were sitting across the table from Iranian negotiators right now, what would you even put on paper? Tell me in the comments below. This is not a simple question, and there is no easy answer. But this community has some of the sharpest thinkers I've ever seen in a comment section. And this conversation needs to happen somewhere honest.